And if you're wondering what Ignition is, we like to say it's an unlimited platform for SCADA and so much more. In fact, Ignition enables you to connect, design, deploy basically any industrial application you need. So that'll include SCADA, HMI, MES, IoT, and the list goes on and on there. It acts as a central hub for everything on the plant floor and beyond. Really a cornerstone of digital transformation technologies on the industrial side is something that we see a lot of companies doing these days. But it can be used in really small applications too. So it scales from small to large. It's web-based, web-managed, web-deployed, an unlimited licensing model. It's cross-platform. And of course, as you have to inside this industry, it offers industrial strength, security, and stability. We pour a lot of effort into those pieces. We also work with several technology partners who help solve many digital challenges to get more power from Ignition. So our strategic third-party module partner, Cirrus Link, creates IoT modules that let you set up a secure MQTT, message-oriented middleware infrastructure that increases data availability. You just heard from Arlen, who leads up a lot of efforts at Cirrus Link. Sepasoft, 4IR, and Opto 22 are all in our Solutions Partners program. As you noticed, these are the folks who are presenting here today, right? 4IR provides an easy way to deploy Ignition and its partner ecosystem in the cloud via fully managed solution. They manage updates, monitor system health, provide 24/7 support for your infrastructure running inside the cloud. Opto 22 manufactures hardware and software for industrial automation, remote operations monitoring, data acquisition. They specialize in electronic equipment, including Ethernet I/O, edge programmable industrial controllers. Today, we will be demonstrating how inductive automation and these four partners combine their strengths to enable digital transformation. And we'll show you a pretty neat use case here. So speaking of which, I wanted to bring Benson into the conversation. We'll all be bouncing back and forth throughout this webinar. Benson, can you talk a little bit about the use case we're going to be looking at here today?
Yeah, sure thing, Kevin. So in this use case, our customer is the owner of a chain of convenience stores called Epic C-Stores. Now, it's worth noting that while we're featuring convenience stores as our use case for this webinar, recognize that this is just a surrogate use case of many industrial automation applications. For example, in a C-store, you connect to physical assets like pumps, levels, flow, machine status, and more. You collect that information, process and control it, visualize it, analyze it, and much more, just as you would in a more traditional automation scenario. Now, what's important is that what services the C-store provides and how we can increase operational efficiency at scale. Speaking of scale, our customer wants to do just that. Their goal is to expand from just a few stores to 50 very quickly and ultimately become the largest C-store chain in just 5 years. Now, as a side note, the US convenience store industry is estimated to be an $800 billion market. So as Epic C-Stores embarks on its digital transformation initiative, they must identify specific objectives to provide the organization's stakeholders with the tools and the data they need. The list is long, but generally they need real-time visibility of their entire operations by connecting, collecting, modeling, and analyzing their operational data. Then they want to optimize their inventory to meet demand while keeping costs low, and they also want to provide local control and visibility. Further, they'll need to model and publish their data where the source of truth exists, at the edge, in the store. This will allow other applications to consume that data and perform tasks like long-term history, machine learning, analytics, and much more. All of this must be done over a strong cybersecure architecture to eliminate unauthorized access, but while still providing secure, authenticated remote access for troubleshooting and maintenance. And ideally, open technology should be used throughout to avoid vendor lock-in. However, one of their most important considerations is using the right tools that will quickly scale to meet their growth objectives. So the company is growing fast and opening new stores frequently, so it needs a technology solution that helps it meet its goals and objectives. Our solution for this is to build a multi-site application with the following capabilities. They'll be able to monitor all of their stores in their fleet from a central location, and within each store monitor food storage units, fuel levels, car wash supplies, local weather, lighting, store transactions, and more, all in real time. And also very important, they'll be able to commission new stores on the fly.
Like so many companies today, Epic stores that you just saw need to do more with their data in order to achieve their goals. Of course, this is not a real company doing real things. This is a demonstration, but you can see how this would fit into your businesses. Most companies today do need to do more data, more with their data in order to achieve their goals. And scalability is very important. In these Epic stores, they need to increase automation to make data more accessible so they can be more efficient and streamline their operations. They need to use data to improve customer experiences so that their customers will stay loyal. They need to leverage edge and cloud technologies, data analytics, and emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, and predictive maintenance. They need data to make better business decisions and to be more adaptable to market changes like gas and food pricing changing on the fly. They need to make cultural changes inside their organization that embraces a wider availability of data within the company and an understanding of what you can do with that data. And everything just described there, that whole effort can be summed up in 2 words: digital transformation. There are various ways to implement digital transformation, but one of the best ways is to set up an accessible single source of truth for data known as a unified namespace. Digital transformation is normally multiple things. An important part of those initiatives is supported by this unified namespace. A unified namespace, or UNS, acts as the foundation of your digital transformation initiatives. In a UNS, data from all areas of your company are organized into a fully accessible, secure architecture that captures, processes, and responds to events from decoupled devices and systems. As mentioned, we're going to show you a demo of this. We'll talk through some of the tag structure and some of the other pieces of this in just a few minutes here. The first step in building out a system like this is the infrastructure. So I'm going to turn this over to an expert on infrastructures in general. So James, over to you.
Thanks, Kevin. So 4IR's mission is to make it easy to deploy, operate, and manage your OT systems using our platform as a service, Factory Stack. So for today's demonstration, we've set up an infrastructure in the cloud that's being used by all the partners today. So this includes Ignition, the Cirrus Link distributor MQTT broker, the Cirrus Link MQTT client engine and transmission, a dedicated database, a private Git source code repository, and all of the associated cloud services and configuration to make all this work smoothly. We take care of creating and renewing SSL certificates, providing DNS, performing backups, security monitoring, enforcing multi-factor authentication, and upgrading not only Ignition, but all the other applications and components that are a part of this architecture. This system, like all Factory Stack systems, is connected to our central management plane and is monitored and managed 24/7. So we thought it was worth highlighting how that's different than when you deploy a virtual machine or another method to deploy Ignition in the cloud. So what we wanted to do was describe that to you in a little bit more detail. At 4IR, we use a technology called infrastructure as code. This allows for us to programmatically deploy and manage instances of Factory Stack wherever they're deployed. This starts on the left side of this diagram that's showing Docker repositories. These are fully supported images provided by Inductive Automation, Microsoft, Postgres, Grafana, and others that provide a Docker-based container image to be used for deployment. 4IR then takes those images and hardens them to meet the requirements of our customers' environments. We then digitally sign those containers and make them available for use in our environments. We also, on the top of this diagram, you'll see we get updates from vendors and cloud providers that are, not in a Docker format that also have to be included inside of our systems. So all of that is pulled into our management plane, and then these changes are included as part of our release process. Our release process then allows for those changes to be pushed out to customer environments when we trigger them. We do not automatically push updates into customers' environments. Rather, we work with each client to define update windows to ensure that their software stays up to date. As you can see, that's not where the arrows in the boxes stop. We've also built in hooks and integration into our monitoring and alerting system. This ensures that every factory stack that is out there can consistently report its health back to us, and we can proactively respond 24/7 if something isn't working as intended. So this diagram covers off the cloud portion of how this demo is being handled, but I'd love to pass it over to Benson to talk a little bit more about how the Opto 22 Groove devices handle the edge. Benson?
Right on, James. Say, Arnell, would you share our C-Stores live video with our audience? Okay, that's cool. So at the edge, our C-Store has many I/O or inputs and outputs to sense and control many aspects of the store, such as the fuel systems, refrigeration, lighting, HVAC, energy use, and the car wash. So we wired all these up to the Groove Epic Edge Programmable Industrial Controller through its I/O cards and developed a real-time PLC program to control the store's various subsystems. Then we fired up Ignition Edge running on the Epic to collect and model all of the store's subsystems into UDTs or user-defined types. From there, we've built perspective visualization screens with UDT templates, so as we scale to more stores, screen development and deployment are simple and repeatable. Then those same UDTs are published outbound and report by exception securely to the factory stack infrastructure, where an MQTT broker runs. Now, any applications with proper permissions can access the C-Store's real-time data directly from the broker in the cloud. Now, this approach dramatically improves the cybersecurity posture of the whole system, and Epic's built-in firewall blocks all inbound access to this store from the internet. With Epic's built-in OpenVPN client, which also connects outbound to a VPN server within Factory Stack, we have remote, secure, and encrypted access to the store on demand. I should note that all of the edge functionality I've just described occurs on just one single manageable and secure system, the Groove Epic. Now, we're also using MQTT and Sparkplug in this solution, and it has tremendous advantages. To explain this further, I'll pass it over to Arlen with Cirrus Link Solutions.
Thanks, Vincent. You know, one of the extremely unique aspects of the Ignition platform is this powerful tag management system that takes, pretty much obscure registers from numerous machine protocol sources and turns them into contextual, humanly understandable tags and UDT models. The modules from Cirrus Link tap into all of the tags and the contextual information within Ignition and publishes them into an enterprise infrastructure using a secure open protocol called MQTT. Now, on top of MQTT, the Sparkplug specification is the layer which defines how best to publish that data and has been influential technology in enabling UNS across our customer base. Because of the popularity of UNS, we've added some new UNS tooling within the MQTT modules. One is the ability within MQTT Engine to visualize all of your tags within a complete UNS structure. The other is the ability to individually publish tags using our UNS tag publisher. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Kevin.
Thanks. So where is Ignition in this overall architecture? Of course, we need to talk about that piece here as well. So Ignition's sitting right on top of the solution, and it gives you the visualization of that process. Ignition enables you to build and view practically any kind of industrial application inside web browsers, mobile touch panels, workstations, and more. And if you don't know much about Ignition, I'll just mention a couple of other things here. It lets you connect to all your devices with unlimited tags and connections at a very reasonable price. And you can build a highly scalable architecture inside Ignition. Everything from smaller centrally managed server architectures up to larger distributed architectures where one gateway manages multiple agents, or in scale out architectures where workload is distributed between multiple gateways. After you have a visualization and data coming into a central system, you might want to take the next step in doing data analytics as well. You can do some of that inside Ignition, and you can do some of that inside external platforms. Mark will talk a little bit more about the latter option, so I'll hand it over to you, Mark, for that piece.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I'd like to highlight some features of the SEPA IQ analytics platform and explain how this product plugs into the ecosystem of partners presenting today with the demo app. So leveraging Sparkplug, SepIQ is actually subscribed to C-Store topics in the Ignition-hosted MQTT broker running in Factory Stack. This allows SepIQ to leverage the infrastructure that's already been described. These features allow us to store data, calculate, add additional context while streaming that data in, and then return analytics in stored, on-demand, or subscription fashions. So this process of streaming data in or out, we're adding an additional contextualization layer. This provides a lot of value for end users, especially in manufacturing, as they spend considerable amount of time on this contextualization activity before they can leverage the data with machine learning and AI tools. So in the present example, we're streaming data to a single server, but server clusters leveraging stateless SepIQ instances can be deployed, allowing users to scale up applications very easily. In case some of that language might be new to you, when I say SepIQ instances are stateless, I mean we can add or remove instances and they're ready to do work immediately without importing a lot of historical data or execution information from past runs. Anyway, scaling for load without tedious configuration is a strength of the Ignition partner ecosystem and a benefit for our mutual customers that's supported here by SepIQ. Now, the calculations that I'll be showing later today are simple enough, but more complex calculations can be furnished customizing your own KPIs for your business or leveraging machine learning models and producing predictions. Let's take a quick look at a data flow on the next slide. Oftentimes, when we're talking about data moving from here to there, we can get lost and it can be a little abstract. So I hope this graphic helps. So as data comes in, typically through MQTT, raw values are stored off in a time series database according to the structure defined for the user's needs. In our current UNS focus, this could align and expand upon ISA 95 or be completely distinct from existing manufacturing standards. So as the raw data is ingested, we can enhance that data with calculated values and other factors. This is indicated by the blue box in this graphic. These calculations could be simple things, little cleanup tasks like rounding or summing, or they could be complex like a multi-step KPI. This gives end users the ability to rapidly retrieve those calculations later in the context of the telemetry style data that we're subscribed to for the C-stores. In addition to telemetry style data, we can also record transactional data. This could be through the same method like MQTT, or it could be something like a REST endpoint, Kafka message queue, database query, or a direct connection to Ignition. Again, when we're talking about UNS, the namespace definition has considerable flexibility according to the needs of the customer organization. So we need to be able to accommodate that and relate data according to the desired labels. Now, last thing I'd like to point out about this graphic is the ability to define your calculations on the way out of the system. So requested analyses can publish a variety of data to suit your needs. Examples include, of course, the raw data and calculated data I already mentioned. Could be predictions from machine learning, or we could even bring in and calculate off of master data from relational databases that are connected to SepIQ. So that being said, I'd like to transition to the next slide. And just for the folks that might be new to the Ignition ecosystem, we're typically known for our MES modules that install directly on Ignition. So we don't just do analytics, we also do MES.